What's up, family? Hey, welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live with me, your host, and international award winning Make Every Second Count speaker, Jeff Marconette Jr. Now, each and every time I'm on here with you guys on Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, I am pumped up. And tonight, well, that's no different. I'm still pumped up because tonight's guest is going to be amazing. But we ask you guys if you would please share this episode out. Invite all kinds of people to watch it. And don't forget to give us all kinds of thumbs up, hearts, frowny faces, cry faces. Heck, you can even get mad at us. I don't care. Just help us trick the algorithm on any of the socials that we're on. Also, please keep the comments coming. We want to have more of a conversation than just make a presentation. But with no further ado, I would like to bring to the stage the man, the myth, the legend, Evans.
Hey,
Hey,
hey.
Jumbo.
Sijambo.
The Jumbo.
Mambo
Yeah,
Jambo.
yeah, Mambo Jumbo. Karibu. All right.
Asante, asante, my brother.
Sorry, guys. We're talking Swahili there, and he is actually from Kenya, where I was previously. So I loved talking that to him. So, if you would like to take it away and go through a short introduction about yourself, tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what you do. I'm going to be inviting a few people on my phone, so I am looking down, but I am paying attention.
Already, you do your thing, sir.
Thank you.
So, before I get into all that, Jeff, allow me just to say what an honor it is to be on your show.
No, it's
And
my honor to have you on the show.
and thank you. Thank you, just number one, for your friendship. And then number two, for the inspiration that you are to me and to so many others. So, my
Thank
name is Evans Kamuru, and I am a speaker, author, and coach. I am based out of Kansas City, Kansas, but I am originally from the beautiful country of Kenya, East Africa. And so, as a speaker and coach, I simply empower people and organizations to lead with disability. In other words, to lead and to show up in spite of any challenges that they might face. So that's myself in a nutshell. And again, it's a pleasure to be on the show with you, Jeff.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for telling me that. Now, I know from personal stories, well, my own personal story, that life has a tendency to throw things in the way, try to hold us down from climbing that mountain of success. Because you see, when I was 17, I was involved in a serious car accident. I spent 2.5 months in a coma and 3.5 in the hospital. I wasn't supposed to be walking right now, but I am. And I want to show everybody that they can get through anything, but it requires one thing, and that is growth. You
Mm,
see, you can go through things or grow through things. And I
mm,
believe when you grow through things, you come out the other side stronger.
mm.
So I have to ask, has there been anything that life has put in your way?
Yes, sir. And for me, it was right from day one. See, I was born without my right hand, and I was also born without my right foot. If I was to stand up, I'm actually wearing shorts, you would see a prosthesis on my right leg, and that's how I am able to walk. Not just that, I was born in a country and a society which, at the time, by and large, number one, looked down upon people with physical handicaps. In some of the extreme cases, people were superstitious and they saw that as a bad omen. And many times, children that were born with handicaps, worst case scenario, may be thrown away or abandoned, or hidden, ostracized from society, and maybe at the very best ended up living their lives relegated to a life of just begging and the sympathy of other people. But that was not the only whammy. As a double whammy, I grew up in a part of the world in which at the time did not have a lot of resources. I don't know, maybe some of that attitude towards people with handicaps explains that, but there were not a lot of resources available to help people with physical handicaps. So yeah, so I not only landed and was hit with a challenge, but the environment around me, by and large, was not very welcoming of people like me.
Yes, that is not good, and I don't know how else to explain that, but I know how frustrating that can be because I've had a lot of people look down on me because of the things that I have trouble with, the things that I can no longer do. And
Mm,
that really bothers me. So I can imagine how it would be in some place where they don't really understand it and they think there's other things going on. So
mm.
how exactly did that make you feel?
Well, obviously, in some cases, and by the way, I was really, really blessed to land in a great family, and maybe I'll get into that in a little bit here. The immediate environment around me was great and was empowering. Outside of those walls, however, I was faced with ridicule, sometimes being overlooked, and that did make me feel sad and ashamed, if you will, unwanted, and like I didn't belong or fit in.
Yes, that is I'm glad that you had such a support system. You see, my parents were amazing. My parents actually never left me alone all 3.5 months in the
Right.
hospital. So I
Wow.
was never by myself in that hospital. And
Hmm.
I really thank them for that. They don't understand the difference that made in my recovery. So I can understand that you appreciate your support system so much. But I need to say hello to a few people here. So, hi,
Yeah.
Robert. He says hi to me, and he also says hello to you.
Okay.
And then we also have Ben Bruce Chris Jr., who is watching us right now from the Seychelles in East Africa. And then we have Adam, who is here from somewhere in the United Kingdom. And dang, there's a lot of people in here. And then we have my sister who's watching, and then we have Rodney Lance, and we have Charles Wagner and Sherry Hubbard, and my dad is actually watching too, and there's Tammy Vincent. Hi, Tammy. I hope you're having a great one. And my sister says, hi, little bro. I think she's talking to me, not you, even. Sorry. But
Hello, everybody.
so I I understand this show is about how we are going to help other people. And but I'm wondering how is it that you helped yourself?
Yes, thank you for asking that question. And I alluded to some of that earlier. Unlike many other people in my situation, Jeff, I landed in a great situation. And what I mean by that is I landed in a great family. So, like, for example, when I was first born and my dad saw me and held me in his hands, my mom tells me that he looked at me, he smiled, and he said, "What a handsome little boy."
Yeah.
So that hopefully already tells you the kind of attitude that my parents had, number one, and the kind of environment that I found myself in. So my parents were very, very supportive. They provided me with all the resources that they could afford, no matter the challenges that they faced themselves. Not just that, but they did not treat me any different from my brothers. They I was given chores like everybody else. I was whooped like everybody else when I decided I wanted to be ornery. And they instilled in me this mindset that I could really do whatever it is that I put my mind to. They did not see my limitations. They saw and spoke into the possibilities. And so that influenced the culture even of the home. So I'm the fourth of five brothers.
Wow.
We call ourselves the five musketeers. And same thing, they did not treat me any different. They dragged me out to every game they played, whether it was racing cars on the streets, going swimming at a nearby lake, or going hunting with our dogs, climbing trees, you name it. I did not have any time to feel sorry for myself, riding bikes, playing basketball, playing soccer. So I grew up feeling like I was just like everybody else, number one, and that I could do anything. And so I think, number one, that environment, and then the mindset, the can do mindset that they developed in me. I tell you, just like in the case of your parents and the way you can credit them for where you are today, that is exactly my story. I was empowered. Even though the external environment of culture and society was negative and hostile, that nucleus, man, was what I needed to grow.
Yeah, that's really cool. So I all right. So how is it that a person can see the abilities they have instead of the different abilities that they might have? Now, I
Hmm.
say different abilities because I do not like the word disabilities. You see, I think disabilities is it's a very hampering word, and it's something that is going to stagger your mindset because it is saying that you are unable to do things, but you're not unable to do things. You're able to do things, just different things. So I call them different abilities. So how can a person focus on their different abilities instead of what the world considers disabilities?
Hmm. Man, that's a great question, Jeff, and you nailed it. It doesn't mean that we cannot do stuff. It just means that we can do the same stuff differently, and sometimes we can do different stuff. And I think of three ideas here. Number one, because as I look back at my own life and the degree of success that I've enjoyed, and I've asked myself the question: how is it that I, a guy who was born with a physical handicap and from a poor place in the country, still ended up doing well? I think of three ideas. The first one is environment. And I found myself in a great environment. The second thing is mindset, that the environment that I was in helped shape my mindset. And I know not everybody can say that of their story. I have a personal friend also born in Kenya with a physical handicap, and his family wanted to throw him away. So I get it. Not everybody has that environment or that mindset inculcated in us from an early age. A lot of us actually have quite the opposite. But two things come to mind. Number one is that even though you and I and nobody really can choose where we were born, how we were born, the circumstances under which we were born, when we get to an age of accountability, then we have choice. We have choice to decide, that our starting point doesn't have to be our ending point. And we can actively try to get ourselves in better environments, whether maybe that's physically, whether maybe that's socially, surrounding ourselves with people that speak life into us rather than death. Sometimes it's changing the environment of our own minds, in terms of being careful about what we consume, reading books, being around mentors and people that can speak that different perspective that you're speaking about. But just as importantly as it is, for us to really understand that we are not victims of our circumstances or our environment, but really we can be architects of the same, it's just as importantly to make or create that environment that fosters positive mindsets for others. So, for example, I'm a father, and I've been blessed to also be a leader in the marketplace and in the community. And that's a question that I have to ask myself as well. That yes, as much as yes, I'm working hard and being intentional about creating my own environment and mindset, how am I doing that for my children, for the people that I lead, so that I set them up on a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block, so to speak. Um, so those are the first two ideas, that I would just want to share that with anyone, that, hey, be intentional about creating your own environment, developing your own mindset, and also doing the same for others. And then maybe if you'll allow me to sneak in one more idea, Jeff, I've come to also just understand that what if that very environment, that very starting point that maybe you don't care for, maybe could be the biggest advantage you have in your life.
Yes,
So,
that is very true. I love that.
and I know that's paradoxical, but what if I told you that my handicap is probably my most unfair advantage? Now you may ask how. So let me just give you three thoughts that come to mind. Um, I'm grateful that I like to say that if you have a handicap, quote unquote, in one area, then you have compensatory advantages in other areas. So in my case, for example, I'm very book smart. Number one, that helped me excel academically. Not just that, I think I'm street smart. I get along well with people, and maybe because of my handicap, I was able to develop empathy and be able to connect with anybody, no matter who they are, no matter how they look like. But I think one of the biggest advantages of my handicap is creative problem solving. You see, because Jeff, I like to think of myself as a one-handed, left-handed guy living in a two-handed, right-handed world. The world is designed for 200 people, right-handed people, and for me to do the same things that a regular person does, I have to think outside the box. So my whole life, I like to say, is a creative problem-solving uh, deal vibe, and so I find that creative problem-solving helps me in so many other areas in life, in business, in family, coming up with solutions quickly and a lot of times out of the box solutions. So, all that to say that maybe if you look at that thing that you think is a disadvantage with a new set of eyes, in the words of Napoleon Hill, you could find that in every adversity lies an equal or greater seed of opportunity.
Wow. And I have to say, Napoleon Hill had some great advice. And if you've never read the his oh what's the book now? Um the
Think
one
and grow
about,
rich.
yeah, Think and Grow Rich. I had a brain fart. But if you guys have never read that, check that out. I have the audio version of that, and it's like, wow. It's just amazing the advice he gives during that book. It's really cool.
It's an
So,
incredible book.
yes. So, all right. Well, first, we have this comment from Tammy Vincent. She said, I've seen no-handed people paint amazing art with their feet. You got this Napoleon Hill rocks. So that's great. And thank you so much, Tammy. I appreciate that. Now, there is like some comments in the comments that I don't really fit the show, but I am going to ask one. And that is about your teeth. You lost them in a rapping accident, somebody said.
Yes, well, yeah. As you know, life doesn't give you just one adversity. I'm a man of faith, so I like to say God has a sense of humor. He likes to sprinkle in a few others along the way. But yeah, 2017, it's Christmas morning, and I'm wrapping the last of Christmas gifts to put under the tree. And I'm using, I'm trying to move fast, so I'm using my teeth to cut off the tape. So So anyway, I basically try to cut off a piece of tape, and my one of my top teeth flies out, and 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 anyway, just to cut a long story short, a week later, I'm eating a waffle, and the other top tooth flies out, and. Yeah, so that's how that Christmas and New Year's basically was. But I always say, every adversity provides an opportunity because, in my case, just to cut a long story short, my family and friends rallied together and they raised enough money for me to get implants for my teeth and also to provide money for therapy for my son who's on the autism spectrum. And that's a whole story in itself. Actually, if you just Google my name, you'll probably see remnants of that were covered by different news outlets.
Yeah.
But again, with every adversity, there is usually a seed of equal or greater opportunity.
Yes, that is so true. I love that, and I actually created a picture this week that talks about um well, I created a LinkedIn article that talks about opportunity or adversities being the opportunities in life. So I'm curious. All right. Oh, wait. We do have one other question that I thought was a good one. So, do you have music online anywhere that people can go and listen to?
Yes. A lot of it is so if you go on my YouTube channel and just type Evans Kamuru, and particularly the one that says Easy Tunes, you can find some videos there. If you look up Easy Tunes, that's E as in elephant, Z as in zebra, then Tunes, Tunes on Facebook. I have a Facebook page on there that has some content on there as well.
That's awesome. So, I'm curious. What should someone do that is in a really low point in their life at the moment? And how can they adapt their mindset to live a better life?
Hmm. Well, I have three ideas. Number one is accept, because a lot of times we try to resist what is, and what is. Trying to fight it does not help. Right now we are in summer, and I could wish all that I wanted that it was 70 degrees and fall, but it's summer. And if I accept the season that I am in, and number one, also I understand that it's just a season. The seasons don't last. That's the cycle of life. In a couple months here, 2-3 months will be in fall, and that's life. And no matter what season you find yourself in, accept it. Then the second idea maybe is appreciate it. Appreciate it. And when I say appreciate, I mean gratitude. Jeff, just living life from a place of gratitude has really, really impacted my life in a great way because
Yes.
we are naturally conditioned to find what's missing, what's wrong, what's absent, what's not going right. And don't get me wrong, what's missing is a fact. I'm missing a hand. It's a fact. But if I focused on the fact that I'm missing a hand, I'll miss everything else that's present. I'll miss everything else that's going right. I'll miss the abundance that's you know in my life. And I found that the greatest way to connect to, I like to think like abundance is always present in our lives. Always. We are looking for it outside and we are looking for it in another time. But the abundance that we need is already present, not only within us and also immediately around us. And sometimes gratitude is what helps us tune into that abundance. And it's as simply as asking yourself the question, what am I grateful for right here, right
Right now.
now? And if you'll take out a piece of paper, a journal, and like the old hymn says, count your blessings, start literally writing it down. And don't think about the big things. I have oxygen to breathe. I have a nose through which to breathe the oxygen. I have lungs that work. I have eyes that can see. And that has a way of shifting perspective in a hurry. So yeah, number one, accept where you are. Number two, appreciate where you are. And then number three, abound in where you are. And the first two steps, accepting and living a life of gratitude, helps you to really be present in the moment and not only take in all the goodness that is around you, but it also allows you to be a channel through which that goodness flows. Because a lot of times when we are down in the dumps, the energy is inward. We're focusing on ourselves and what's going wrong. But when we can accept where we are, appreciate where we are, then we start to have an outward focus where we realize, hey, I can also give. I'm in a position where I'm blessed and I can be a blessing.
Yes, that is great advice. So we're running short on time here, but I actually have one other question.
Yes, sir.
So you don't have to make this quick or anything. It's not you're not expected to do that. But what exactly does make every second count mean to you?
Oh, man. Whew. How much? How many hours do we have? Hey, I'll say this quickly. So I love listening to motivational stuff. Again, it's creating that environment and mindset that empowers me rather than puts me down. And one of my greatest motivational speakers, inspirational speakers, is Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn said that our lives are nothing more than a collection of days that are put together to form weeks, that are put together to form months, to form years, and to form a life. And he says essentially, if you can learn to enjoy every day and make every day a great day, a successful day. At the end of 7, you have a great week. At the end of 4 great weeks, you have a month, and so on. I like to bring it down even further that every day and our lives are really a collection of moments, a collection of seconds. And if we can learn to experience the goodness that's in every moment, and not just experience it, but also give of the goodness that's within us in every moment. Because Jim Rohn said that the quality of our lives is basically determined by, number one, the amount of experiences we have and the intensity of the experience that we have. And so, to your point, Jeff, if in every second I can bring my whole present to the presence and enjoy it, then the rest of life takes care of itself.
Yes, that is so true. All right, so now I just came up with another question. I'm gonna make it last even longer now. But so if you could go back and change things, say when you were in the womb,
Hmm.
would you change? Would you make it where you had a foot and had a hand, or would you leave it all the same?
Jeff, nothing about not just the womb, but I would change nothing in my life because as And again, I'm a man of faith, but I believe there are no accidents, and everything happens for a reason and for a purpose, and everything is a stepping stone and an ingredient to who we are. You take away any of that, and you're not the same person today. And so I've just learned to look at my life through that lens of understanding that everything is purposeful and beneficial, not just for who I am today, but for what I need to be tomorrow. Again, every second, right, is important, and it's what makes up the next. So, Jeff, to answer your question, I would change nothing in my life.
That's exactly what I thought you would say, and I appreciate that. I love hearing people say that and explain why they do that in their life. So, but I'm sorry to say that we've gone a little over, and that's all right, because you have given great advice tonight, and I thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy evening to be here with me and my followers. But
Hey,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
No, I
No,
was just going to say the pleasure is all mine, man, and I'm so grateful for you inviting me, and again, just for your friendship.
Sante.
Karibu.
So I need everybody out there, including you, Evans, to do me a favor this week, next week, and for the rest of your life. I need you to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when the seconds are going to run out on your one life.
Mm.
I'll see you guys back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, take care.
Blessings.
Oh, wait, sorry, forgot. Thank you, Adam. Contact information.
Yes. So you can find me on social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I have one of those very common names that's hard to miss: Evans Kamuru, Kamuru. You can send me an email at evans@evanskamuru.com.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon.
Sounds good, brother.
Thank you, Evans.
Take care.